Beneath the cold, dark waters just off the coast of San Diego, two relics of American naval history have silently rested for decades. One a tragic war grave, the other a haunted survivor of Cold War training. And now both have finally been brought into the light. In early 2024, a team of researchers from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, known as WHOI, and the US Navy embarked on a high-tech expedition aboard the research vessel Atlantis. Their destination, the seafloor more than 1,300 feet, or 400 meters, below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. This was no ordinary mission. They were going to revisit two long-forgotten wrecks, a sunken submarine lost during World War I and a Cold War-era Navy bomber marked with a number sailors have long feared, the number 13. The first target was the wreck of the USS F-1, an experimental US Navy submarine that had vanished during a training accident in 1917. It sank so quickly that the crew barely had time to react. 19 lives were lost in mere seconds. Only 3 men survived, rescued by a sister submarine nearby. The F-1 had once been a symbol of cutting-edge military innovation. As one of the earliest submarines developed for the US Navy, she represented a new frontier of warfare, the ability to strike from beneath the waves. But this promise came with risk. These were the early experimental years of submarine development, long before the safety protocols and navigation tools of modern fleets. Accidents were not rare. Fatalities, sadly, were often expected. For decades, the precise resting place of the F-1 was unknown, until a sonar image in the 1970s hinted at its location. Still, no one had surveyed it in detail. That changed in early 2024, when the Atlantis crew, equipped with WHOI's most advanced oceanographic technology, returned to the site for the first time since the disaster. Their tools? The human-occupied submersible Alvin and the autonomous underwater vehicle Sentry, each a marvel of engineering. Alvin, capable of carrying scientists into the deep ocean for hours at a time, has been used to explore the Titanic, hydrothermal vents, and black smokers. Sentry, designed to map the ocean floor independently, provides high-resolution imaging and sonar data in the harshest of conditions. As Bruce Strickrott, manager of the Alvin Group at WHOI, explained to Live Science, these two important oceanographic tools work extremely well together. The combined strength of the two capabilities has transformed deep-sea oceanographic research and exploration and is becoming a routine part of Alvin scientific missions. Strickrott had worked out the submarine's rough location from Navy records, and on the very first afternoon, Sentry succeeded. It located the wreck, silent, solemn, and forgotten. What they found was astonishing. The USS F-1 lay on her starboard side, her bow angled northwest. The wreck had not collapsed or disintegrated over time as many feared. Instead, it was remarkably intact, according to Strickrott. Even after more than a century beneath the crushing pressure and frigid darkness of the Pacific, the outlines of the submarine remained clear. Her story, at last, could be told in full. Bradley Kruger, an underwater archaeologist for the U.S. Navy's Naval History and Heritage Command, NHHC, was aboard Alvin during several of the dives. He helped reconstruct the sequence of events that led to the F-1's sinking. The submarine was conducting a 48-hour engineering run and performance test between San Pedro and San Diego. Traveling alongside were the USS F-2 and USS F-3, performing similar tests. As all three vessels entered a thick fog bank, conditions deteriorated rapidly. The ocean became a blank canvas of grey, and then tragedy. The USS F-3 collided with the F-1. The impact was violent and catastrophic. The F-1 sank in less than 10 seconds. Those on board had no chance. Only 3 crewmen were pulled from the sea. 19 others drowned in the cold Pacific. The wreck is now classified as a war grave. WHOI and the Navy made a joint decision. No contact would be made with the wreck. No samples would be collected. No attempt would be made to raise debris. This site would be respected, not as a scientific curiosity, but as a final resting place. We chose to preserve its condition and be respectful of its legacy, Strickroth emphasized. But the story doesn't end there. The expedition also visited a second wreck, one less tragic but equally mysterious. It was the remains of a Grumman TBF Avenger torpedo bomber, a large, rugged aircraft used during World War II and into the 1950s for training. This plane had crashed in 1950, not during combat, but during a routine training exercise over the Pacific. For years, WHOI researchers had been aware of the Avenger wreck and occasionally used it as a practice site for Alvin dives. But the US Navy had no formal record of its exact location or condition, until now. Thanks to the dives in 2024, the site was officially mapped and catalogued. The NHHC was able to confirm the bomber's identity, and something remarkable, the crew survived the crash. Everyone on board escaped alive, a rare and welcome outcome. But one detail stood out. Painted clearly on the engine nacelle was a number, 13. It was not random. The number identified the training squadron the aircraft belonged to. But the symbolism of the number 13, long considered unlucky, especially in military aviation, gave pause. Even today, some Navy ships skip deck 13. Pilots avoid taking off on the 13th of the month. Superstition, however irrational, runs deep where lives are at stake. Strickroth noted the eerie detail with fascination. "I often wonder what the pilot and squadron personnel thought," he said. "There's always that part of you that wonders if they hesitated." Today, the bomber lies broken but recognizable. Nature is slowly reclaiming it. Coral clinging to its twisted frame, fish weaving through open hatches. But it is no longer anonymous. Its identity, its story, its survival, all have now been confirmed. Together, the USS F-1 and the TBF Avenger represent two faces of maritime history. One, a solemn tragedy, the other, a mysterious survival. Both are reminders that the ocean, vast and unfeeling, holds more of our stories than we realize. And now with Alvin and Sentry, we are beginning to find them. This expedition was more than a scientific milestone. It was an act of historical justice, a way to preserve memory, to show respect, and to honor those who served. For WHOI and the Navy, it was a technical success. For the public, it's a glimpse into the forgotten, but it's also a promise. There are countless wrecks out there, lost submarines, sunken aircraft, missing ships, all waiting to be found, all waiting for someone to ask. And as technology evolves, so does our capacity to listen. The sea keeps its secrets well, but not forever. If you want to keep diving into stories like this, stories that merge science, history, and mystery, then join us. Subscribe, because the ocean still whispers, and we're only just beginning to hear what it has to say.